Hey, welcome to FLX Weekly here on Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. I'm Jim Seneca inside the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, and today we'll be joined by Melody Osgood. She's a licensed acupuncturist and doula who's starting to work with Michelle, who you see on the show from Seneca Falls Acupuncture, so we'll talk all about it. But first, this episode of FLX Weekly is brought to you by GoNetSpeed. The future of connection is here, and it's fiber. Made for how we live and work today, GoNetSpeed Fiber is faster and stronger than anything out there. Check availability in your area as well as plans and pricing at GoNetSpeed.com and get ready for fast, reliable fiber internet straight to your home. And also Cafe 19, breakfast, lunch, pastries, celebratory cakes, pies, and catering, guaranteed fresh and always local at Cafe 19 in Seneca Falls. Also offering an assortment of beverages, including tea, coffee, and espresso drinks. Check out their full menus and weekly specials at xixcafe.com. And I should also mention that Casey at Cafe 19 takes pie orders for Thanksgiving, so you'll want to get those in early because they do, at some point, reach capacity, and her pies are amazing. So if you want to make your Thanksgiving meal prep a little easier, give Casey a call at Cafe 19. So welcome, Melody Osgood. How you doing?
Hi, doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in today. You are a licensed acupuncturist and doula who's going to be working with Seneca Falls Acupuncture. So we'll talk about acupuncture, obviously, but what's a doula?
So a doula is somebody who walks somebody through the pregnancy and childbirth process. Usually I like to work with my clients, anywhere from week 30 on, sometimes a little earlier in the pregnancy. But we do a couple of prenatal visits and, figure out what the mother's desires are for her, birthing experience. And then we work out a birth plan, but it's more like a birth philosophy because nothing goes according to plan.
Sure.
And then I'm there with them through labor and delivery as well as postpartum.
Okay. Now back to acupuncture.
Yeah.
Both are unique fields, I suppose. Tell me a little bit about, well, first, where are you from?
I'm from Oswego, New York.
Okay.
So I grew up there, graduated from high school there, went to RIT for undergrad, stayed in the Rochester area for some time, commuted back and forth from Rochester to Seneca Falls, actually, for school. So I went to NYCC, when it was NYCC here in town, and got my acupuncture degree. I graduated in 2019 and then got my license in the middle of the pandemic. Moved around a little bit, and then my family, my husband and I and our son settled in Newark, New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why acupuncture? What brought you into the field? Like, did you go to RIT or Oswego with that in mind, or is it something that kind of came along later?
So I went to RIT with biotech in mind, actually. I studied I started out in the biotech program, went biomed. It was a medical pathophysiology class that really turned my attention to the fact that biomedicine just isn't practiced in a philosophy or a paradigm that really vibed with me, for lack of a better way to put that. What I found when I was looking at the biochemical processes between how these drugs actually work for chronic diseases especially, I was just upset with how many side effects and how many problems we end up creating when we're trying to treat a disease, and end up causing, usually further complications. So, biomedicine is great, but I think it has its limitations. So it just wasn't what I was looking for in a career path to, go the medical route. So I switched to food and wine at the time.
Both good things. I like
Yeah,
them both.
absolutely. So I finished up with a multidisciplinary degree, took some time off, worked a job I hated for a couple of years, and then found acupuncture when I was doing some soul searching and really wanting like a shift in my career. I wanted to go back to the idea of helping people and getting to the root of the disease rather than just treating the symptoms or, you know, what we think is going on a biochemical level. And that was what really drew me in with acupuncture, was this idea of treating the cause of the disease rather than just the symptoms.
Okay. And so I know that at Seneca Falls Acupuncture, Michelle does a lot of cosmetic acupuncture. Is there a certain lane of acupuncture that you're a specialist in, or that or maybe you prefer?
I love treating cosmetic cases. I think it's really fascinating, and it's really cool to see like almost immediate results that sometimes you get. You know, you can see a difference sometimes right after treatment with some of these cases. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks, you know, to see a difference depending on what you're treating, right? But I also love treating, you know, we call it women's health, but reproductive health. So, you know, all the aches and pains that come along with things like pregnancy.
So there's a little crossover between your doula
Yeah,
hat and your acupuncture hat.
there is. I think they're somewhat inseparable. Like, I think that there's a real value to being just a doula or just an acupuncturist, but I also think that they give something to each other that's really fascinating and interesting to explore. So it's kind of cool to be able to, when I'm in the room, also provide a lot of like pain management. There are acupressure points that I can use. I'm hoping in the future to be able to needle in hospital, but in the meantime, there's a lot of acupressure and things that I can do to just address what's going on.
So without getting too deep into it, you know, if you were studying biomedicine at RIT, I'm sure that you'll be capable of answering this question, but in a way that maybe our listeners just briefly could understand, like what is the science behind it? Like a lot of people know acupuncture involves, you know, needles, and but why is it effective? Whether it's cosmetic or pain management, what's the science behind it, I guess?
So there's a couple of different mechanisms. You know, no one can say absolutely for certain that this is how acupuncture works, but there are some really good theories backed up by evidence. One of which being that it does improve blood flow through the tissue. When we're doing cosmetic acupuncture, this small amount of tissue, I guess you would say, you know, tissue damage that you kind of cause, in a controlled amount. Stimulates a localized immune response.
Right.
So there's localized inflammation, but in a controlled way, and that essentially is a healing response. So it's these, you know, I guess it is kind of overly technical, but the inflammatory cytokines arrive on the site and they deliver everything that is needed to repair the tissue, including collagen and elastin into those areas. So that's where you're seeing a lot of improvement in the appearance of wrinkles or fine lines, scar tissue. We're improving the blood flow, we're improving the flow of the what's needed to repair the tissue.
Right.
And then, you know, there's also the aspect of a lot of people, especially in our go culture, right? America runs on coffee. We are overly into our sympathetic state as a culture, and so taking the time to actually shift out of that sympathetic state, that cortisol high state, and into more of like a restful state. Acupuncture does down regulate or rather reduce the amount of activity in the fear center of the brain, which is more active when we're in that go kind of mentality. So it puts us into a healing state in the body.
Yeah, no, that's a great explanation, actually. And So some of it is medical, some of it's therapeutic. Um,
Yeah.
and I know a few of the clients at Seneca Falls Acupuncture, and they're very pleased with their results. And it's funny that you do mention the therapeutic aspects, because one of the things that some of them have said is, I like the ability to totally relax for, a half an hour, or, they comment on how peaceful and relaxing it is in
Yeah.
the office. So, talk about a little bit how you came to Seneca Falls Acupuncture and met Michelle Grassick, who's,
Yeah.
yeah, give us a little background on that.
Um, so at, when I first met her, I actually was in school. She actually came in and talked to our marketing class or our business class for acupuncture students. So I met her through the school. So she was kind of on my radar. Like I knew she was out here. I also follow her podcast, and so when I saw her job posting locally, um, I applied, and we got to talking, and it worked out. So I'm really pleased that the opportunity was available when it was.
So, how can someone, will they schedule with you? Will they schedule in general? And then whether you or Michelle, will you have your own clients and she'll have hers? Like, any idea how all that will work out?
So I'm an associate, and right now how we're working it is she's doing Monday, Tuesday, and I'm doing Thursday, Friday. So
Okay.
depending on what works for their schedule, they can book with either of us, through the website, SenecaFallsAcupuncture.com. And so yeah, depending on whose schedule it works with, they can book with either of us.
So, the typical client, are they signing up for a package of a certain amount of sessions, or is it just an ongoing, or is it case by case?
So when it comes to like the cosmetic acupuncture, it really is beneficial to do a package of 10. That's where you're going to see the most results. So you would come twice a week actually for 5 weeks for those packages. And, for other conditions, usually we like to say between 6 and 8 treatments to really see an improvement or see how your body responds to the acupuncture treatment. So, if you were looking to try it out, I would plan on trying it for, 6 to 8 weeks to really just see what it is that your body is going to do with acupuncture and how it's going to help your condition.
Sure. And should point out, you mentioned you were at New York Chiropractic College, now Northeast College of Health Science.
Yeah.
So they offer programs in acupuncture, which, because I think a lot of people, I think it's changing now, but they consider that like alternative medicine, but or alternative treatment. But obviously, there's accredited courses out there for it, and it's a practice that's been around now it's been around for thousands of years, I suppose, but at least here in, American society, it's something that I think has become more and more common over the past 10 to 15 years. Are you finding that, well, I guess you're just starting down there, so you wouldn't have had too many clients yet, but what do you find from the general public, whether it's friends or family, their attitudes towards acupuncture?
Well, when I first told my family that I was going back to school for acupuncture, they were like, "Are you sure?" And it wasn't until graduation, actually, when my grandparents finally, like, they realized how close my master's degree was to being a doctorate,
Right.
to where they were like, "Oh, okay, like, you're really doing medicine,
Yeah.
just not Western medicine."
Yeah, no,
not
I guess that's what I was getting at, is that, you enrolled in the course study, to become, to learn this. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. So that's a great point. So at first your family was like, what's going on? You're gonna shift gears now into acupuncture, but then
Yeah.
when they see you graduate, and now start your career, they
Yeah.
they pleased.
Yeah, I think their response sort of shifted over time as well as they became more familiarized with it. Obviously, like I think we all kind of treat our family, right? Maybe we shouldn't, but
Right.
but they did have that experience of learning more about it as I was learning and getting more familiar with the concept and of Chinese medicine and the mentality of like the way of thinking of about things more holistically. So that really shifted their mindset as well. Unfortunately, NYCC no longer offers acupuncture as a program. They just started a massage program, but they did away with the acupuncture program in 2020.
Well, things have changed. Have changed. Our kind of fluid situation over there. So who knows what
Yeah,
it'll be like in another couple of years. But
sure.
so SenecaFallsAcupuncture.com if you want to schedule an appointment online with Melody or Michelle. Thanks a lot for filling us in. Welcome to the neighborhood, and hopefully tons of success down there with Michelle at Seneca Falls Acupuncture.
Thank you.
Got any plans this weekend?
I
The
don't
first
know.
weekend in November,
Yeah.
and weather's not too great.
We'll see what the weather's like. We might take a hike or something. I've got a 2-year-old, so we'll see what he's up for.
Well, a hike, not too bad of a forecast here for a hike, I suppose. Friday, we're looking at partly sunny skies with a high near 54. Should be beautiful. Gets pretty cool overnight, down to just under 40. And then Saturday, mostly cloudy with a high near 56. Another great day for a hike or any outdoor plans that you might have. And then on Sunday, there looks like a chance of showers with a high near 55. So that is pretty typical November weather. I still think we'll get one more blast of unseasonably warm weather here before Thanksgiving, maybe get into the 60s. Hopefully that coincides with the weekend. But anyways, thanks again for joining us. And thank you for joining us here on FLX Weekly. If you enjoyed the show, click like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next Wednesday. Oh, next Wednesday, we've got someone from the Dick's ice skating rink in Victor. The Dick's Sporting Goods ice skating rink, which is opening in a couple weeks. They'll be here in studio to tell us about what's new this year on the ice in Victor. Until then, have a great first weekend of November here in the Finger Lakes.